All right, so we have another video on constructing Voronoi diagrams. This one's a lot shorter. So let's just get started here. So we have a Voronoi diagram. It says it's missing an edge. Complete the diagram and find the equation of the missing edge. Well, if you look at example 3, you notice one thing right away, and that is that there is no edge separating sites B and C. So they're not part of their own cell. So that tells me right away that I need to find the perpendicular bisector of BC. Okay, so how do I find the perpendicular bisector of BC? Well, we've done all of this before. We're going to go ahead and find the gradient of BC, and then we're going to find its opposite reciprocal. So let's go ahead and do that. So if I'm going to find the gradient of BC, I have 3 minus 1 over 2 minus negative 2, which is equal to 2/4, which is equal to 1/2. Therefore, our slope is equal to negative 2. And I'm going to now find the midpoint, right? So go ahead and find the midpoint of BC. So the midpoint, let me label this, is going to be negative 2 plus 2. So I'm just adding those x coordinates together, divided by 2. And for the y coordinate, 1 plus 3 divided by 2. And that's going to give me 0, 2, which is nice because that means that that is the y-intercept. So the equation of my line is y is equal to negative 2x plus 2. That's the equation of the missing edge. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that in. So see if you can draw the edge correctly to form the cell that will contain B and will also contain C. Remember, those are two separate cells separated by that edge. So go ahead and try that on your own. All right, so I drew that in there. Remember that that cell for B has to contain the perpendicular bisector for BC, which we created, which I drew in red right here, as well as the perpendicular bisector for BD, which is right here, and the perpendicular bisector for BA, which is right there. Okay? All right, for the second question, it says find the coordinates of the missing site X in this Voronoi diagram. Well, there's only one cell that doesn't have a site in it, so that cell has to contain site X. We just don't know where it is, so that cell has to contain site X. What we do know is that all the edges of the cell are the perpendicular bisectors of X with the points A and X with the point D. So we know, let's just say X is here. I'm just going to guess. Okay. If X is there, if I were to draw that line segment, this blue line, which forms the edge, is the perpendicular bisector of AX. Likewise, let's do this in a different color here. We choose this pink here. If I were to connect DX, ooh, that was not a great line. Let me try this again. If I were to connect, here's X. If I were to connect DX, man, I'm not having luck with this right now. Let me try this again. Okay. X is right here. And then we'll connect DX. So what I'm trying to find is the intersection of the line segment AX with the line segment DX. And I can use what I know about the slopes of perpendicular bisectors with the line segments that they form that perpendicular bisector for. So what I mean by that is I'm going to find the equation of the pink line, the hot pink line here, and I'm going to find the slope of this line, and I'm going to find that point where they meet. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I do that. Well, first of all, I know that this Voronoi diagram contains this edge, and that edge is a horizontal line. Well, that means that the actual line segment AX, wherever X is in the cell, is going to be vertical, right? Because like I drew before, let me erase this. So like I drew before, you're going to have some vertical segment like that. Well, that line is the equation x is equal to -3. Now, dx that I drew in that light pink, if it's going to meet somewhere, it might not meet there, but the important thing is that I find the slope of that pink line, that light pink line. So let's go ahead and find the slope of that light pink line. Well, to find the slope of that light pink line, I need to find the slope of the perpendicular bisector and use its opposite reciprocal. Well, I know the perpendicular bisector's slope, right? I can find that pretty easily. So if I go up 1 and over 3, so it looks like the slope of the perpendicular bisector, so the perpendicular bisector of dx is equal to 1/3, right? It's just the slope of that line. Okay, that would mean that the slope of the line, or the slope of the line segment, dx, is going to be -3. So I'm going to look at a slope of -3. So from D, I'm either going to go down 3 into the right one, or I could go up 3 into the left one. So from D, I'm going to go up 3. So up 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and to the left 1. So they're going to intersect right here. So what point is that? That's X, right? That's the intersection of AX with DX. How did I find that? Well, I used the fact that the perpendicular bisector for AX is a horizontal line. So the line segment AX has to be vertical. And I used the slope of the perpendicular bisector for DX. And then I said, okay, well, the slope for the line segment DX has to be the opposite reciprocal of that. And then I just moved from D using that slope. And then I found the intersection. All right, so that would mean, just to bring things home here, AX would be formed by this horizontal line, and DX would be formed by that diagonal line. Okay? So the coordinate for X is -3, -1. All right, I hope that was helpful. Your homework tonight is to check the answers for the construction of Voronoi diagrams part 1. The key is on OneNote. And then to, of course, watch this video, rewatch it if you need to, and do the homework for Voronoi diagrams part 2. It's a very short assignment. I will try to put a video up tomorrow answering some of your homework questions for the previous assignments. I hope you're having a great day.